In this week's episode covering swoon-worthy romances in anime, we're featuring Anne and Shawl from Sugarapplefairytale. Let's get to know them a bit better. Shawl has an ethereal allure, but is actually a strong and capable swordsman. He's the serious type who doesn't do anything unless he actually wants to, which makes a lot of his actions towards Anne more meaningful. He's tall and elegant and just as handsome as everyone in the show is always remarking on. Anne is independent and headstrong, always willing to dive into difficult situations headfirst in the pursuit of her craft. She will easily stand up for herself and others and has a strong sense of justice, especially when it comes to the treatment of fairies. She's very cute with the way that she styles her hair, and I love her outfit. They start off with a little enemies to lovers energy, and Shawl can be fairly antagonistic to Anne in the beginning. This is mostly from the prejudice between fairies and humans, though Anne doesn't act with prejudice because she would prefer to befriend the fairies. Shawl spends their first days together trying to maintain their contractual boundary because he's still harboring distrust of humans. But he's also testing her at every turn and won't let her ignore their power imbalance. A lot of the early drama comes from breaking down the barrier of their master-servant relationship before Anne gives his wing back and restores his freedom of choice in episode 4. Shawl letting Anne touch his wing was a perfect representation of him finally trusting her and breaking down the barrier between them. It was such an intimate moment, and Anne was so entranced, and he clearly appeared moved by the whole thing. Then he calls her by her name for the first time and kisses her hand, declaring he'll stay with her of his own free will. At this point, Shawl recognizes the goodness in Anne, and this is the true catalyst for their romance to begin. As they spend more time together, they develop a newfound respect for each other. But even from the first episode, they were drawn to each other, and there's a charged energy between them. As time goes on, Shawl starts to get more touchy-feely and protective of Anne. You can feel how enamored with her Shawl is when he looks at her and his eyes soften, and he's not cold towards her like he is to everyone else. These moments build up until Anne realizes her feelings for him as a result of the Phylax Castle incident. Every time that he reaches for her is so heartwarming. All of their hugs and doki doki moments are so adorable. But even though they quickly move to casual touch and a shared life and goals, this is still a slow burn romance. They can admit their feelings to themselves, but they won't say it out loud to each other. The second half of the anime is more like a we aren't defining it relationship. They seek comfort from each other and support each other, but there's still a hesitation to fully commit. As a fairy, Shawl has been alive for more than 100 years, so they have Anne's shorter mortal lifespan to consider as well. I think the tension created by their differing perceptions of the passage of time is an interesting, fantastical detail. The anime by itself lacks a perfect happy ending, but I suspect that's because it only adapted volumes 1 through 6 of the light novels, which are finished releasing in Japan. Sadly, only 9 of the full 20 volumes are translated into English thus far. I really want to see more tender moments between these two and witness them finally become a couple, so I'll keep my fingers crossed for an unrealistic third season of the anime, which I rated a great 9 out of 10. Please share your favorite moments from Sugarapplefairytale in the comments. I'd love to hear them.